All right, can everybody see that? Okay, perfect. So, a couple of things to think about here. I'm gonna do one thing here real quick. Oh, I can't do that. All right. There we go. So, a couple of things here. As I said, I learned a lot about color and the effect it can have in putting this together. But another thing to consider as we're looking at this is color occupies a tremendous amount of our visual focus. People have an impression and a feeling of a room within 60 to 90 seconds of entering it based on the color that they see. So I know if any of you were at the Triangle Business Breakfast several weeks ago, I think it was one of the last in-person meetings, Jenny Midgley, who's a photographer and branding digital marketing person, has mentioned many times that your brain processes images 60,000 times faster than words, and colors kind of fit into that theme, given the amount of visual interest that they occupy. So it is definitely making an impression on us. And how much of are we aware of that, and how much are we just subconsciously kind of drifting through it? Think about that as we kind of go through some of the information here. So I'm not an artist by trade or an art major, but I do know that colors get separated into 6 major groups, which are red, orange, yellow, blue, green, and violet. So for the purpose of something we'll talk a little bit about, we're going to kind of split those in half into warm and cool colors. The warm being the red, orange, and yellow, and the cool being the blue, green, and violet. And you can pretty much take a fan deck and do the same thing. All of them can be split into either these 6 subgroups or these 2 major groups. And there's a lot of color variations off of there. But overall, warm colors are associated with sunlight and heat, which creates feelings of warmth, liveliness, and energy. And you're going to see some of that when we start talking about specific colors and places we put those. Cool colors tend to be associated with water, sky, and nature. This tends to create feelings of being calm, relaxed, and peaceful. So those are some things to kind of think about there. The cool colors tend to be a little more in touch with nature, water, elements, and the warm colors are energy, sun, and liveliness. Things to consider. So now we're gonna start looking at some specific colors, some specific emotions those colors may make you feel, or maybe you were feeling and didn't know. And then also some rooms in the house that may be good spots to have these as main color or secondary color schemes. So one thing is, what function does the room serve? Is it a gathering space? Is it a working space? Is it a workout room, an exercise spot in your home? Is it a place where you want to be relaxed, like your bedroom, or a comfortable area in the house, a sitting room, a reading nook? What mood do we want to sense and be in when we're in that space? Are we wanting to draw energy from the space? Are we wanting to let energy out and relax and slow our heart rate, drop the blood pressure down, and really be in that space and not draw strong feelings or emotions from it? And then another one is, how do we want other people to feel when they walk into the room? So when someone walks into our home, and they see those colors immediately, how do we want them to feel? Do we want them to feel warm and welcome? Do we want them to feel their eyes to feel at ease and relaxed? Do we want to stimulate conversation with them right away? Or do we want to welcome them in and kind of give them a chance to settle in? So all things to think about in terms of color and what it can do in the function of the room. So now we're going to start looking at some colors. The first one is a strong one, which is red. All right, who has a red room in their house? Anybody have a red room? Nope. All right. Well, I've had a red room years ago, but interestingly, the most common feelings associated with red as a room color are an increased energy level. It does make a very strong impression, and then it stimulates a tremendous amount of conversation. I honestly was really surprised by the stimulating conversation piece. Energy level and strong impression. Okay, I kind of intuitively felt that, but it actually stimulates a lot of conversation. But because of the strong energy, the strong impression, red is often not a smart choice or considered for bedrooms. It's not what you want to have in there. It also, just to go a little off topic, bordellos, places like that historically have red interiors. Maybe now we see the connection there. But ideal rooms that red could be used would be living room, dining room, or entryway. So stimulating, drawing people together, stimulating conversation, making a strong impression, and raising the energy level. So, the entryway or living and dining, entertaining areas of your house, if red is your thing. Red is a strong color. All right, so now we're going to go kind of opposite and go to yellow. Yellow, obviously warm color, joy and happiness, very energizing, very welcoming, uplifting. Yellow is a great choice for kitchens, dining rooms, bathrooms, and hallways. So this is interesting. Even though yellow has a lot of positive emotions and a lot of positive words that are being associated with, a couple things that I'm going to tell you that are a little counterintuitive to that. One is yellow is not a great choice for main color schemes. A lot of studies have shown that yellow on larger scales can create feelings of anger, frustration, increased crying in infants, and an increase in the percentage of people that lose their temper. So even though yellow is a color that, a lot of people think of the sun and it's happy and there's lots of energy, a whole house of yellow could actually have the very opposite effect and could increase anger, intensity, shorten patience, those kinds of things. So yellow in pieces or accents or certain areas would be a better idea. As I said, kitchens, dinings, bathrooms, and hallways. So kind of accent places, maybe less wall area, especially in a kitchen. Blue. So, but before we talk a little bit about blue, I made a post, I think it was last week on social media. The Sherwin-Williams color of the year is naval blue, which I believe is color number 6240. And depending on, I've seen a lot of polls and design trends from Sherwin-Williams, Better Homes and Gardens, I believe Southern Living as well, that classic blues are going to be a big dominant color for this year. So what are some typical emotions or feelings of blue? A reduction in blood pressure and heart rate, very calming and relaxing. So very, very soothing with blue. Now, blue also has some of these same elements as yellow in that it is a little shade specific, but in general, blue is ideal for bedrooms and bathrooms because of the relaxing, calming nature that it has. But shade is important. If you were looking to do a family room, a living room, or a large kitchen, large gathering areas, you may want to consider a warm or a bright blue, something that is kind of uplifting. Soft shades as the main colors in larger spaces are definitely a better way to go. Darker shades of blue can have the adverse effect of calming and relaxing. It can actually create feelings of depression. So, be aware of that. If you're a person, maybe I had someone tell me the other day that they didn't want any gray in their house because it made them think of a gray day outside. Dark blue could very much be the same way. So be careful with your blue shades. Bedrooms and bathrooms are great. If you bring it into a main space, you definitely want to go on the lighter, warmer shades to make sure you're giving that calming, relaxing vibe and not the dark, depressed mode, which can be seen in some of the darker shades. Green. I thought this was one of the most fascinating things here. Green is the most restful color for the eye. I had no idea that that was the case. I thought that was extremely interesting because a lot of times greens can be very, very strong, but also calming and stress relieving. So because of that, green can be an ideal color for just about any space and as a main color scheme. So a main color scheme would be, you know, predominant color throughout the house. There was not a whole lot of adverse opportunity with green. Green is basically, as it says, very calming, very restful. And its big benefit is it helps you relieve stress by relaxing you. So green is going to kind of slow down some of that rapid eye movement processing. You know, you're going to kind of just power down a little bit in a green space. So green by far is the most versatile in terms of where you can put it and the least amount of adverse effects based on shade or anything like that. I didn't come across any strong opinions that certain shades of green create negative emotions or moods. Oh, whoops, let me go back there. Purple. So this was my favorite. This was my favorite one. When I looked at the feelings and emotions most commonly associated with purple: luxury, creativity, richness, and sophistication. I found this to be incredibly amusing because my youngest daughter absolutely would live in a purple world if she could. So very, very telling of her personality type, the common emotions of purple. So purple is ideal for bedrooms, particularly in lighter shades. Now, darker purples, so you think of like your eggplant, you know, some really rich, deep purple colors as secondary and accent colors can create that luxurious, creative, and rich feeling. They may be a bit much for a primary color, but as an accent color and accent wall, absolutely. The lighter shades of purple, perhaps something like we're seeing here, in bedrooms can have a very similar effect to the lighter shades of blue. It can be very calming, very relaxing. So interesting, purple is a very versatile color in that sense. It can be relaxing, but also that luxurious, creative, and sophisticated emotions as well. All right. This one, next one was pretty easy. Orange. Excitement, energy, enthusiasm. So orange was probably the least versatile color, I thought, just because it's so strong. And it just creates so much energy that, you know, orange is really, really best focused in a workout room, somewhere where you really want to raise your energy level. Maybe as a secondary accent, a small piece in another space. So as an example, consider it in combination with another color or an accent. You know, like in an office as an example. Perhaps instead of an orange paint, maybe you have orange accents. You have an orange piece of art or something that incorporates the color orange. But it is, and it really hit me when I was looking at this image here, just how strong that wall color really is. Very much like red. It will almost bowl you over if you really focus on it. So orange accents, secondary color is a great way to go. All right. So now we're going to switch gears. We basically talked about the 6 main colors, and a lot of that was focused on the interior. What rooms, the moods, the connections, the functions of those rooms, what you want to achieve while you're in there. So exterior paint thoughts. A lot less direct tie to emotion outside versus inside, but some things to think of when, you know, you're thinking about a color for a house. I don't know about you guys, but when I painted my my current house, the outside, I think we looked at 15 different colors before we decided on the one that we picked. So some things to think about. Number one is your surroundings. So obviously your landscape, Other houses around you. If you're in a neighborhood with an HOA, you don't get to make a lot of those decisions, so that's kind of easy sometimes. But what's around you? What's your landscape like? The style of your home. Is your home is it a Tudor? Is it a Victorian, a colonial, a craftsman, an old plantation house like we have a lot of here around? Or if it's new construction, a lot of the new construction stuff I consider to be a blank slate. And as long as your HOA approves it, you could pretty much do any color scheme you want on those because they're a lot of easy geometric shapes. And then what impression is the color going to make? We talked about warm and cool colors earlier, and I think in the exterior, that's breaking it into that classification for me makes a lot of sense. On the cool side, if you're a person that draws a lot of peace from nature and natural colors, being in that cool palette may feel very, very relaxing to you. But also yellow as energizing, inviting, and welcoming. I mean, we see a ton of yellow, beige, tan, a lot of those tones showing up on exteriors. And there's also maintenance reasons as well. But just kind of interesting thoughts there. One thing I did not mention, and if you guys were wondering, is we did not talk any about neutral colors. So blacks, whites, kind of things that we see all the time. Neutral colors are just that. They're not really going to evoke a lot of emotion, but they can have an effect on other colors. Black as an example. Black as an accent color can really accentuate the other color in the room. So a room with say black trim, which sounds really bizarre, but is going to really put emphasis on the wall color or other items in the room. Black furnishings, all those things are going to really accentuate the other colors in that room. Whereas whites or light colors are going to make a room feel open, airy, modern, and really just open the space up to more light and warmth. So neutrals didn't have a correlation to mood in the areas that I looked, more as complementing the main color schemes. So in closing, guys, like I said, this was meant to be fun, just meant to give you some general ideas, some things to think about, connecting color, connecting the function of the room, how you want people to feel when you're in that room, and how you kind of tie that in with your whole design strategy. I mean, there's a whole other part to picking colors. If any of you have ever worked with an interior designer or a home stager or people like that, there's that whole other design side of color too, and how it blends with furnishings and fabrics and all those things. But mood and the effect it can have on you is something I had never really thought about. I had always gone to the other side of, does the wall color go with the furniture and the floor and kind of the hard elements of the architecture, the furniture. But mood is very much an equal component, especially when you think about the effect and function of that space for you. So that's kind of what I've got. I wanted to leave some time for questions. I mean, color, it's like 1,000 shades of white. There can always be a lot of interpretation. I just wanted to leave some time for some questions. If you guys had any thoughts on mood, on color in general. I mean, it's a very, very broad and expansive topic.
This is the house that we live in is the first one that I've not done hardly any painting in. Our bedroom was already purple when we got here, so I was happy because I'm a purple girl.
Yeah.
We've got blue in my office, which was already there. But I want to put. I loved that orange wall. I loved that, and we're gonna in my kitchen. I've got some. It's not a lot. It really becomes an accent, the amount of wallpaper they have in it. But I've been planning to put some rust on there's just one wall because we have lots of cabinets. There's very little wall space in here. And I think seeing that, I think that a rust there would be really nice. And would create a lot of warmth and everything. It's funny because Jeff said he didn't think he liked orange, but when you showed that orange wall, it was like, yeah, that's nice. I wouldn't want all walls like that. If you do the accent, then I really liked that. That was interesting.
Yeah, it's that orange wall. It is a very strong color, but yeah, a kitchen could really work, especially as you mentioned, because of the wall being cut up and it really just being a pop in a lot of different little parts of the room could really, give you some energy in the heart of the home.
Yeah, I like that. Renee, what colors are hot right now in the real estate world?
You asking me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a real estate agent. I figured that's your area.
Well, as agents tell them to keep the house neutral so that the buyer can, visualize their stuff in the home. And if you have anything like I do in my house, downstairs I've got aqua and brown and tan, and my room's purple too. That's just a no-no for selling a house.
So do people need to paint their houses before they sell them?
Yes, if it's not going to be an easy sell. In this market, you don't have to worry about it as much, but it does make a difference, if you got bright colors. You want to make it neutral.
Yeah, I know we work with a lot of realtors, both getting ready for market and then also with buyers coming in. And what you said is so true. Is the house needs to common phrases are the house needs to appeal to the widest potential pool of buyers, and that's where that neutral, tan or we've painted a ton of agreeable gray. Gray tones are very popular, gray and whites with white trim. So those allow people to imagine, or for a home to be staged very universally, and kind of lets people put their own palette in their mind when they're viewing a home to buy.
Yeah, I'd have a lot of work to do if I ever put mine on the market.
Well, I'm not crazy about gray, but when we bought our first house when we got married 15 years ago, yellow was the color. And yes. I do not like yellow on walls, and I don't like yellow on the outside. In fact, I really hate it. And so the first house I ever bought was yellow on the outside, and I personally painted that house myself.
Oh, good for you.
Because I didn't have it in our budget, and I couldn't stand that color. It was a one-story, so it wasn't too terrible. I don't know that I could do that today, because I don't like going up on ladders at all now, but I did it. But every house we looked at had yellow kitchens and yellow living rooms, and it was like, we just hated it. So gray would have been really much nicer had we gone in. It was so I can understand. I'm sure people, like when we went in this house, and I knew immediately because we could have up to 5 bedrooms here. And when I went in the purple one, I said, oh, this is our bedroom because I don't have to paint.
It's funny you say that about yellow. The sneaky thing about yellow too is people don't think of all shades of yellow as being strong, but yellow can actually be one of the hardest colors to cover.
Oh, I bet.
It tends to flash through, especially if you're trying to go, to Renee's point, to that neutral palette to get ready for sale. A lot of times yellow walls require multiple coats of paint, just depending on the hue. It's a very fine line if you can, use even with a really good quality paint, if you can cover yellow with one coat versus 2.
Same thing goes with fluorescent green. We learned that when my daughter did. We let her pick her paint colors, and she had fluorescent green, and then she wanted it gray, and it took many coats to get away from that fluorescent.
Yes, you almost have to prime it and start back at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
When my husband bought the first house, not only was it yellow on the outside, but the bathroom was painted hot pink on the walls and the ceiling. And I think I primed it. I think it took 2 or 3 coats of primer before I ever went on with the paint. It was quite interesting.
Well, this house, when I moved in, I said the people that lived here before me were UNC fans because the entire house was painted UNC blue.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
Every
cool too.
wall, every room. And it had blue carpet,
Wow.
and there was linoleum in the kitchen, and it was blue and white.
Jeff would have loved that house.
So I painted every
Wow.
room. I got rid of all the blue, and I had no blue in my house. I said, I don't want any blue. I've got to get rid of it. So I got rid of all of it, but now I'm in the process of painting my TV room, and I'm painting it blue.
Wonderful.
But now my bedroom is yellow.
Oh.
And I've been thinking about painting an accent wall, but now after listening to you, I'm wondering, should I paint 3 walls and leave a yellow accent wall?
Oh, that could be kind of nice because then you might get some of the warmth and energy from the yellow without it overpowering without it being the main color scheme. Yeah.
I like if you're going to use a dark color, I really like an accent wall, like that orange. Wouldn't want every wall, but if you did one wall orange and then had the others a white or cream or whatever you wanted, you would have impact. If the rooms are big, you can get away with it. But if you have small, and we don't have small rooms, all of our rooms are pretty good size. But if you've got small rooms, like that hot pink bathroom, I mean, it was not a small bathroom particularly, but it looked like, you were in a little cage. And when I repainted it, then it had a whole different, it seemed so much bigger. But I love accent walls. And that green was the same thing. Jeff said, oh, that green would be too much. I said, but if all of your other walls were white and you had that and then those white things, and he said, oh yeah, that would be different. And I love accent walls.
I was just in a brand new house today, actually, Jeff, and the homeowner is going to do that exact thing. All the walls were basically an off-white, and in 4 of the rooms, we're going to go in and paint accent colors. And in the living room, which overlooks the backyard and the forest, we actually are going to take a leaf off of one of the plants that she has in the back and have the leaf color matched so we can paint the accent wall looking out into nature that color.
That is cool. That is really cool.
So that way your eye's not fighting with the green paint versus the green out that you're seeing outside. It kind of all flows out through the window.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. So for bathrooms,
Yeah.
what are good colors besides you said the red and I think you said the orange maybe for a bathroom. My daughter's trying to decide on what color she wants her bathroom.
Yeah, so yellow can be a good choice in a bathroom. I'm just going back through my notes here. Also blues. Blues are good for bathrooms. Red's for living, dining, entry. So I would go more with the yellow, blue, and then of course green. Green can pretty much go anywhere, depending on what the color palette of the home is. But yellow, blue, green, kind of a little bit warmer and softer.
Okay.
Intense colors would be my suggestion. There's always gray.
Yeah.
Which is what I was thinking of for an accent color in my bedroom. So I'm not sure if I want to do 3 gray walls though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gray has just jumped in terms of popularity the last several years.
Yeah, everybody wants gray cabinets.
I have
That's
gray
something
cabinets.
A lot of buyers are looking for when they go into homes.
Fashion, but I still like wood.
That will come back as well.
Yes, it will.
It will. Bill Davis, when he sold his house, he said, we had the most beautiful stained cabinets, but to sell it, Terrence told him he needed to have them painted white, and he did. And Bill said, after that, he said, I couldn't even stand. He said, I went in that kitchen, he said, it looked like, and if our cabinets in here were all white, oh my goodness, because there are 50 cabinet doors in our kitchen.
Ooh.
It takes up a lot, and if every one of those was white, it would sort of be electric in here.
Well, I think your kitchen is, because of the size of your kitchen, you need to do the 2 colors. You need to do the base in one color and the top in another color if you paint.
What I want to do is go to the wall down at the end where that fireplace is, and that's the only one that doesn't actually have windows or cabinets, and that's where I'm going to put the burnt orange.
Oh, that'll be pretty up there.
And I think that'll be really pretty. I mean,
Fireplace. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think and we really, gosh, I guess a year or two ago got the notion to do that, and it just has not happened.
Just haven't had time.
We just haven't had the time. But I was sitting here, all this got me, because I've always done all my own painting, and that got me really excited, but I really don't want to go to the paint store right now. If I did, I might, because that little bit of painting, man, I could knock that out in 5 hours. That one wall.
Yeah, actually, a lot of to your point, a lot of the paint stores right now are curbside only.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, that's the best thing. That and for your workmen and stuff, the surface that this virus lives on the longest is metal, and it can live. They're talking 3 or 4 days. So really and truly, people that are in construction that are picking up things that are metal, they should probably pick them up, and I would let them set for the 3 or 4 days and then spray them with a disinfectant or soapy water. We don't know what kills this, but what we do know is that viruses usually, the cell membrane dissolves with soapy water. Is really enough, but they really need to do something with that, because I hadn't even thought about it, but all those paint cans are metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's everything is kind of getting caught in the effects of that. But yeah, now we have to, when we order paint to paint a house or whatever, we have to call ahead, and then basically it's like takeout. We just pick it up and go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anybody got any other questions? Because we've got a bunch of other people on here today. Anything else you want to ask Scott about paint? Marie Bogle.
Oh, I've been putting in comments because you guys went.
Oh, okay.
No, that's okay. I haven't read it. Yeah. No, I was telling Scott that this is really helpful. It's very different for me to think about putting something on a canvas and to put it in a room. I'm in my office now, and I've been in this house for 8 years, and I've never painted my office because I can't decide on a color. So it's very different. And you see the colors I have on the wall behind me, the different. I'm teaching English to kids in China online, so that's why I have the colors sitting there. So no, this is really helpful. You were all talking about the colors of your house when you moved in. The walls in my living room downstairs were peach, this really nasty peach color. So I painted the wall yellow, and you're talking about yellow because I wanted to brighten up the room. And then I put in a bamboo floor, and the contrast was way too much. So I had to do the many layers of coloring it up, covering it up with like a neutral color. So it's been a work in progress. But I found this really helpful. I've got my office to paint and my second bedroom to paint. So thank you. These were good ideas.
And Scott, I'm going to ask you a question. So if you, and Marie, you're the artist. In our living room, we've got wainscoting, which right now is beige, blah beige, very light blah beige. And then the top of is white. And I want to do the wainscoting white and the upper part with blue, not too dark, not too light, something in between. Jeff wants to do white at the top and blue at the bottom. Anybody got any thought?
The blue at the bottom is a very you see a lot of that in colonial architecture. So that's a very classic, and it will definitely have it'll make that room feel very different. Not that that's bad, but it'll be a much more, in my opinion, I would tend to think of that as a much more traditional feel. The white trim and the blue on top, I think is going to feel a little lighter. And that's just my perception. Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong there, but I'm going to think of that to me, that feels, I tend to think of water or or nature or being close to a body of water, like I tend to think of the ocean, up something like that color scheme, blue and white.
Well,
But
the top is probably, I want to be near water, so that's that could vary. And Jeff is the one who likes old things. I actually did research on it, and around 1900, the color schemes were to have the walls very dark colors. But I think they also, like when this house was built, all the woodwork in it was stained, and in 1970, because it was the building started in 1895 and they were moved in by 1900. And then when they when it was redone in the 70s and they got rid of the plaster and redid everything, you know, they painted, and it makes me really sad, they painted over, I think it was all mahogany, which is absolutely marvelous wood. But
that's painstaking. Not only the beauty of the wood, the cost of the wood, the cost to cover it up. I mean, oh my gosh.
yeah, you
It
know,
could probably be stripped, but it would be a big, expensive job.
yeah.
Yeah, especially because mahogany is so porous.
Yeah. It would be a huge job.
You know, though, to wanting to do the wainscoting in a blue and the wall in a different color, I'll tell you where, at least for me, where a scheme like that would make a ton of sense would be like an office or a study.
Well, actually, my office and the hallway has it's a Carolina blue basically and white at the top, except the hallway's got this hideous
colonial blue.
Yeah, it's colonial blue, but well, it's pretty daggone Carolina blue. But anyway, it's got this hideous wallpaper that the pattern dates to 1900, but it is the ugliest wallpaper I have ever seen. Jeff absolutely loves it, so it's still there, but
well, I wouldn't say I love it, but I think it goes with the house.
I think you can make the house look the way you want. It doesn't have to go with the house.
But Jeff, this is exactly why when people ask me, do I pick colors? My answer is always no.
Probably safer.
It totally is.
If Jeff dies before me, I'm going to take some of that life insurance and have that daggone wallpaper taken down.
Carlos is putting in a wallpaper clause as we speak.
Hey, my job is to put it in place. Their job is to spend it.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody being on. Tell people about it. We'd love for people to come. I'm not sure. Michelle is on. Do you know who the speaker is for next week? I know that Miranda's already sent something out to them, but I don't have the calendar. I don't think. Hang on a second, and I'll tell you who's speaking. Back here. Well, is it in their office?
I'm not sure. We'll have to figure it out.
All right, well, we don't know. I'm not exactly sure where the calendar is because Michelle's not coming in right now, but we will send everybody out a email. And if you're not on the speakers list and you'd be interested in doing a lunch presentation, please send something to me. I think right now we're booked up to like the 1st of May. But we'll be doing that on out. And I thank you for coming. Tell other people about us and have a great week.
The same link next
All
week.
right,
And it will be the same link
Thank you.
every week. We've got that set up. So take the link and put it on your calendar and join us.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Campbell, thank you, Scott. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.